Hello, I'm German D&D, and welcome back to Disabled DM. This video's gonna be a short video on 5 things that inspire me when I get the creative writing block that DMs sometimes suffer from. And this was recently asked to me, and I've had it come up several times. In that players are curious what inspires us as a DM to be so creative. Well, I have 5 basic things I do. The first one, and definitely not the least, although it's the one I usually use the least, is I talk to my players and just hanging out, having good time, talking about their characters, getting some of their ideas. And usually that helps spark something to get my creative ideas going. And the reason I use this the least is because it is time consuming. You have to work around people's schedules to be able to talk with them, including your own schedule. And as any DM knows, a DM's life is extremely busy. The fourth thing I use is I typically go for a walk out in nature, out in the woods, and I look at different patterns, the tree barks, firms, the different ways the grass and rocks and a river, a creek, and I just sit out there looking at these things, and I always have a notebook and paper with me, and a pen or pencil. And usually as I'm doing this, I'll come up with a couple ideas that I jot down. The number 3 with A that I use is actually a YouTube channel by Don Forgecast, as I watch a lot of his Ask a DM series. And usually the questions and his replies get me thinking on different topics. And from there I expand out into, well, what if this happened inside of a game setting or a session setting, and I start pondering how I would handle whatever issue or question is. And from there I get thinking, okay, well, what's my setting? How would it affect my setting, my players, the characters? That usually gets the snowball rolling. The number 2 way that I use is another YouTube channel. Esper the Bird. And I watch a lot of his videos. He does a lot of music videos, a lot of short stories, poetry, and some game sessions and stuff too. And the reason I use him for number 2 is he is fantastic at giving details. And that really inspires me to do better with that area of my settings. And then the number 1 is actually a 2-way tie. I between fistfuls of dice, the provokers, and be a better game master than certainly. And I watched those campaigns. And I watch these a lot before a session, because watching and those guys get together, have fun, and do such an awesome job with their campaigns really helps inspire me. And I sit there and think, well, what if I use this? Or I put this twist on a similar situation. How would my players react to it? So I get a lot of inspiration from these things. And I have yet to find one of those 5 things that doesn't work to break wherever the block is. It can be time consuming because some of these videos aren't sure that 3-4 hours and that can be a big chunk of time. But usually I'll watch at least an hour right before a session. And so that's what I do. I would be interested in hearing what some of my viewers do. Oh, and how they handle the creative block. And perhaps it's not an issue for some people. I know it can be for me, so with that, as always, may the dice roll in your favor.